A mysterious virus begins spreading through mosquitoes. At first, those infected show no symptoms. However, as time passes, the infection progresses through 5 stages. In the initial stage, clear signs of infection appear on the body. By the second stage, the infected begin to bleed. In the third stage, victims develop an unidentified black necrotic blood and become aggressive. The fourth stage sees the infected entering a hibernation-like state, appearing almost dead. But by the fifth stage, they suffer severe brain damage, turning rabid and violently attacking any living thing in sight. On day 33 of the outbreak, cities across the world fall one by one. In a military quarantine zone in Florida, Dr. Lauren receives orders from her superior to lead a small team to a local school. Their mission: collect blood samples from 89 survivors in hopes of finding a way to combat the virus and save humanity. Before the mission, the commander shared a crucial secret with Lauren. Those infected in the first stage of the virus can actually be cured. However, antibiotics are incredibly scarce, and the base only has a few doses, reserved solely for individuals deemed valuable. As for the escorting Team 314, the commander considered them expendable. Lauren, on the other hand, is the last CDC-certified medical professional left in the world and bears the heavy responsibility of saving humanity. The commander emphasized one thing above all: Lauren must survive and return at any cost. Once aboard the vehicle, the navigator, Denise, warmly greeted Lauren. Lauren then made her way to the rear of the truck, where she opened the medical kit and discovered a phone inside. Just as she reached for it, Gunnar handed her a baseball bat and pointed out that their protective suits are equipped with radios, so there's no need for a phone. He also mentioned that her help might be needed very soon. At that moment, Lauren didn't fully grasp the meaning behind his words. Soon, the driver, Wheeler, drove the vehicle up to the gates of the base. As the iron doors opened, zombies instantly rushed in, and everyone immediately opened fire. However, the zombies kept coming, and it wasn't long before one climbed onto the windshield. Lauren, who had been hiding in the base since the disaster began, was seeing this kind of scene for the first time and froze in shock. Luckily, Gunnar opened the car door and used a shotgun to shoot the zombie off, averting the immediate danger. But just as things seemed to settle, another zombie crawled through the car door and lunged at Lauren. With almost no combat experience, Lauren was helpless, but thankfully, Gunnar quickly returned and shot the zombie, saving her once again. The danger wasn't over, though, as more zombies squeezed inside. Everyone worked together, killing the zombies one by one, and after a frantic battle, they finally managed to break through the horde. Denise checked in with everyone, asking if everyone was okay. But then, at a critical moment, it was once again Gunnar who grabbed an axe and killed the zombie. The group, still shaken, was now facing Gunnar's disappointment in Lauren's performance. In the face of the zombie attacks, they had to work together to survive. If Lauren continued to stay out of the fight, she would only drag the whole team down. As they reached a fork in the road, a disagreement arose over which route to take. The original plan was to head through the suburbs, but one of the team members reminded them that there were hundreds, possibly thousands, of Stage 5 infected in that area. On the other hand, if they went through the city, they would only encounter Stage 2 and 3 infected, which would be much easier to deal with. Lauren insisted on sticking to the original plan, but Gunnar disagreed. He wanted to take the city route, and there was another reason. He was hoping to find the missing 313 squad. Despite Lauren being the highest-ranking officer in the group, Gunnar chose to disregard her orders after her poor performance earlier. As the truck reached the city streets, a survivor flagged them down, asking for help. Seeing that the woman didn't appear to be infected, Lauren opened the medical kit, preparing to check her, while Gunnar stood by, keeping watch with his gun. Fortunately, the woman wasn't infected. However, as they tried to help her, they discovered her foot was trapped in a manhole cover. Gunnar's face turned pale, and he immediately told Lauren to stay away from the woman. But Lauren, still focused on helping her, didn't realize the danger. It turned out that Stage 3 infected individuals had some level of intelligence, and the woman was being used as bait. The woman was shot in the head, and at that moment, the Stage 3 infected people who had been lying on the ground pretending to be dead suddenly sprang to life and charged at them. With the zombie horde closing in, Wheeler floored the gas pedal and sped away, leaving Gunnar behind to face the oncoming swarm alone. In the nick of time, Lauren opened the truck door. After Gunnar cleared the zombies around him, he sprinted toward the vehicle and made it just in time to jump in. Lauren looked out the window and saw many refugees wandering the streets. At first glance, they seemed normal, but in reality, they were all infected, just in the first or second stages. They would do anything to survive. According to incomplete statistics, the global number of infected individuals had already surpassed 2.5 billion. Suddenly, Gunnar spotted a bus parked by the side of the road. Seeing that Wheeler had no intention of stopping, Gunnar immediately aimed his gun at his head. It turned out that this bus belonged to Squad 313, and Gunnar's wife had gone missing aboard it. When the truck finally stopped, Gunnar went alone to check the bus, but found no survivors. At the back of the bus, he finally found his wife, lifeless. Her body was a broken mess, and seeing it, Gunnar could no longer hold back his grief. He collapsed in tears. Just then, Wheeler noticed something moving on the roof. Lauren, unable to resist her curiosity, stuck her head out to take a look. Everything appeared normal outside, but as she turned her head back, Lauren struggled desperately, but it was Denise who finally saved her by firing a flare gun, setting the zombie on fire and helping Lauren escape the danger. With that, Lauren grabbed a steel pipe off the ground and killed one of the zombies, while the last one was taken down by Gunnar, who had returned. Seeing her finally show some growth, Gunnar nodded in satisfaction and reached out to pull her up. Back in the truck, Gunnar remained silent, still grieving the loss of his wife. The group pressed on, but then Gunnar asked Lauren if she knew that second and third stage infected individuals would eat people. Lauren admitted that she hadn't heard of it before. Given that she had previously struggled with even simple bandaging, the others began to question Lauren's true identity. Soon, they reached their destination. They only needed to collect blood samples from the 89 survivors here, and then they could leave. But after searching for a while, they found no signs of anyone being there. To speed things up, the four of them decided to split up. In the bathroom, Lauren found a dead body. After rummaging through the pockets, she retrieved a phone and skillfully dialed a number.
Mom, is that you?
Yes.
It turned out that Lauren's main purpose for coming on this mission was to find her husband and daughter. When the disaster struck, her husband and daughter were trapped in the suburbs. Her daughter had told Lauren that her father went out to search for help a few days ago and hadn't been heard from since. Hearing this, Lauren's mind was in turmoil. Her only thought was to go quickly and bring her daughter back. But just then, the phone call was abruptly cut off, and Denise came looking for her. Fortunately, she hadn't overheard their conversation. Soon after, Denise called the other two team members over. She had discovered a locked door inside. As Gunnar tried to break it open, Lauren noticed a woman sitting on the floor in a nearby classroom. Unable to resist, she approached the woman. When the woman saw her, her expression became frantic, and she begged Lauren to take her child with her. At that moment, Gunnar came running, gun in hand, ordering the woman to put the baby on the ground for a blood test. When the group looked more closely, they realized the baby had already mutated. Lauren had no choice but to explain that they couldn't take the baby with them. However, the woman suddenly lost control, attacking them in a frenzy. Fortunately, Wheeler reacted quickly and stabbed her with a knife. They then broke the chain and entered the locked iron door, but they were too late. All the survivors inside were lying on the floor, unable to tell if they were dead or in the fourth stage of hibernation. Just as they were about to retreat, Wheeler spotted several figures moving in the distance. Panic set in, and the group began running for their lives. Denise tried to use a fire hose to barricade the door, but it was clear this wouldn't hold for long. Fortunately, with Gunnar, who was local to Florida, using his quick reflexes, he continued to fend off zombies in the locker room, buying the group some time. Later, he led the group into a classroom. After shattering the locked window with a single shot, he handed the shotgun to Lauren, telling her to go ahead while he stayed behind to cover their escape. Zombies poured in relentlessly, quickly knocking the weapon out of Gunnar's hands. He fought desperately, but ultimately fell to the zombies, dying in their grasp. The three survivors who made it out began arguing. Wheeler demanded the shotgun from Lauren, but when she refused, he abandoned the others and fled alone. That night, Lauren and Denise found a warehouse to hide in. Lauren, still worried about her daughter, wanted to head to the suburbs to search for her. She finally confessed the truth to Denise. She wasn't actually a doctor. After the outbreak, she had stolen an identity card from a real doctor to survive. To find her daughter, she had no choice but to pretend to be one. As a fellow mother, Denise didn't blame her. Instead, she decided to help Lauren search for her daughter. The two made their way to the shelves, planning to gather some supplies. Suddenly, they heard something smash behind them. Denise quickly told Lauren to turn off the headlamp, but the next moment, a zombie appeared out of nowhere and knocked Lauren to the ground. Luckily, Denise was quick to help. After Lauren managed to escape, she grabbed a hammer to fight back, but suddenly the zombies disappeared. In the pitch-black environment, the zombies hadn't noticed them and gradually walked away. Just as the two of them breathed a sigh of relief, the zombies returned, charging toward Denise. At the critical moment, a spear pierced through the zombie's head. It was Wheeler, who had changed his mind and come back to help. They then contacted the doctor from the 313 squad via radio and learned that they had a vehicle. The three decided to meet up with them. At this point, Denise noticed Wheeler's abdominal wound and realized he had been attacked on the way, becoming a first-stage infected person. Lauren explained that the base had medication to treat first-stage infections, but before that, Wheeler had to accompany her to the suburbs to search for her family. With no other choice, Wheeler agreed. Since he was already infected, he decided to remove his protective suit. However, on their way, a vehicle suddenly attacked them, and Denise was abducted. When Lauren caught up, she found them brutally disemboweling Denise and beginning to devour her flesh. Furious at the sight, Lauren lost control and used her shotgun to shoot them all, continuing to vent her rage by smashing their heads into pulp, still not feeling satisfied. At that moment, Wheeler arrived and comforted Lauren, pulling her into an embrace. Soon after, they met up with the doctor from the 313 squad in the garage. Just as Wheeler was about to start the ambulance, the doctor noticed Wheeler's wound. When Lauren turned her head, the doctor suddenly grabbed a fire extinguisher and hit her in the head. The doctor feared that Lauren and the others were third-stage infected and decisively abandoned them, leaving in haste. Fortunately, there was another ambulance in the garage. The two of them managed to start the vehicle just in time, narrowly escaping the oncoming zombies as they sped off, crashing through the chaos to finally break free. The car sped on, quickly reaching Lauren's former home. Fortunately, her daughter was still inside, patiently waiting. But after conducting a virus test, she discovered that her daughter had already been infected. However, Lauren didn't tell her daughter the truth. She made an excuse to leave and go gather supplies, all while knowing her daughter was still in the first stage of the virus and could be treated back at the base. Following a trail of blood, Lauren discovered the body of her husband in the trunk. He was tightly clutching a video recorder, which contained his final message to Lauren and their daughter. As Lauren mourned, Wheeler noticed that a horde of zombies was closing in on them and honked the horn, urging Lauren to hurry out. Lauren quickly stripped off her protective suit and put it on her daughter, but when she opened the door, the zombies rushed in. In that moment, Lauren's fear turned into resolve. She fought alongside Wheeler to escape to the second floor, barricading the door to keep the zombies out. They managed to escape through the window, but as Wheeler came down, he accidentally broke his leg. With the horde closing in, Lauren, tears in her eyes, was forced to leave him behind. The two women jumped into the car, and Lauren drove through the zombies, speeding towards the base. However, at the entrance of the base, a large horde of zombies had gathered as well. As the guards rushed out to clear the zombies, Lauren quickly got out of the car with her daughter, looking for help. Since she wasn't wearing protective gear, she was mistaken for an infected person and was attacked. In that moment, Lauren met her tragic end. The soldiers then noticed the code on her daughter's protective suit. Upon learning that it was Lauren, the commander immediately ordered that she be taken to isolation for treatment.
Orders are to keep all infected outside of the compound. I give the orders. She's the last of the CDC.
Little did they know, the real Lauren had already died. As her daughter was taken into the base, it became clear that humanity had already lost any hope of victory in this war.